You're listening to Seize Your Adventure, the podcast that shares stories of adventure and outdoor living with epilepsy. Hello, Martin. Thank you very much for joining us today on Seize Your Adventure, and it's lovely to have you. Thank you so much for reading out your story for us for the podcast, and I thought that we would just get a little bit of extra information from you for our listeners to know a little bit more about you and hopefully intrigue them and send them your way on Instagram and that kind of thing.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
So, first off, as I have to ask everyone, and I thought I'd do this at the start this time, what does adventure mean to you?
I would say adventure means to me exploring the unknown and having fun.
Beautiful. I love that. I don't know how much people have actually said having fun yet, but it is something which you have to be doing when you have an adventure, or at least be able to look back on. And what's the type of adventures that you enjoy most? So is there a particular sport or is there a particular type of adventure which you most enjoy doing?
I think I like hiking a bit.
Yeah.
I like a wide range of anything really.
Yeah.
I used to be in the scouting. So like maybe I did do like things like archery and canoeing. So yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like I like physical recreation, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fabulous. That is super adventurous. I never did anything like the Scouts when I was younger, so I'm always a bit jealous when people talk about the Scouts and the Guides and stuff like that. It's always a great kind of childhood to grow up with, that nice adventurous childhood. You do obviously travel a fair amount in regular times, and we are unfortunately still in second COVID lockdown at the moment. So this one might be a little bit trickier to think about, but what was the last adventure that you had? It can be a big one or a very small one.
Well, that's the thing. Like just so I could get something in with this year. Like I did like go to Scotland this year, and yeah, I went on a little tour actually with my mum. Like we went to the Isle of Skye and the Highlands. But the last big adventure was when I went to South America, and I went to like Bolivia and Chile and Argentina, and I went to places like the salt flats and
Yes.
yeah, things like that.
We have a great picture on the Seize Your Adventure Instagram actually from when you went there with the
dinosaur.
the dinosaur, that's the one.
Yeah.
Some great photos from when you were out there and some great ones from Scotland as well. You're always making me jealous when you're going abroad. And you obviously said that you didn't know very much about epilepsy before you were diagnosed. Is there anything that you would, or what is the one thing that you would say to people who don't know very much about epilepsy at the moment? What would you want them to know?
I mean, like maybe if they didn't know much about it, maybe they can actually like look into it, like sort of like research it, and yeah, like maybe make sure that they are like sort of like diagnosed properly. Like they have, when I've been on since being on the having my Instagram profile, I've heard of people like it being misdiagnosed. So
yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good point, is speaking to other people and learning as much about it as you can, for sure. Definitely. And I've completely lost it. There was one more question. Which one was it? Oh, that's why. It's because it doesn't really affect you this one because you told the story in us. I was going to ask you a little bit about your epilepsy and your first seizure, but you were saying to us that it was when you were in primary school and you were in a music lesson, weren't you?
Yes.
So with that one, obviously that's a few years ago. I won't ask how many, but have you? How are you with your seizures now? How are you getting along with your epilepsy?
Yeah, I don't have that many tonic seizures that I'm like that's they're mainly controlled, but I do have the odd partial seizure now and again.
Mm. Yeah, no, it's really good to hear. It's obviously something which you being able to go and travel by yourself and that kind of thing, being able to control it with your medication mostly, is really good to hear. Well, thank you very much for telling your story for us and also for taking some time to do the questions there today. Where can people find you online if they want to go and follow you?
Yeah, I'm on this Instagram, and my profile name is epilepsy traveler.
Epilepsy Traveller, and that's the UK Traveller, isn't it, with two L's in there?
Yeah, it's just called epilepsy traveler.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so quick confession, adventurers. I am editing this up last minute and I realised that somehow I managed to not only lose my local recording, so my good quality recording of this conversation, but in the Zoom phone call, I managed to turn myself off halfway through the conversation. And to top it all off, when I tried to record this little apology to you, my flat suddenly got very noisy. The outside seems to have some drilling going on. So I'm currently recording this in my bathroom with a blanket over my head. But I just wanted to slide in and apologise for the fact that this conversation is a little shorter than it actually was in real life. Luckily, Martin was a bit better with his recording than I was with mine. And so we have the answer to his last question here, which was, what is your next big adventure? Martin talks about a challenge that he took on at the start of this year now, at the start of 2021, where he did a walking challenge for epilepsy.
I'm thinking about doing like a have you ever heard about this 1 million steps? You know, like there's a sort of like a international epilepsy day every year. I'm thinking about doing thinking about doing this 1 million steps, where it's either 1 million or it's 50,000 or whatever. It's X amount of steps, and you know, you put it on your walking, like doing X amount of steps, and I'm thinking about doing that because you know I said I've always wanted to fundraise. That's like the beginning of the year.